Hey everyone, it's Dave Barnett from the investlocalbook.com blog. A blog all about local investing, private lending, small business. I want to tell a business broker story today, and it's the story of a birdwatching store that I was hired to try and sell. And I mean, we're talking about a very specific niche. This was a store for people who like to do bird watching. To a lesser extent, people who wanted to have feeders in their backyard, or go hiking or adventuring to go and find and record birds, take pictures, that kind of thing. And so, talk about a specific niche. It was one of two such stores in the 4 Atlantic provinces of Canada. So big area, 2 stores. And even up in Ontario and stuff, I think they only knew of a couple of stores like theirs. The reason that the business was up for sale is because the owners of the store were being transferred for work. It was a couple. The wife worked in the store, the husband had a job. And he was starting a new job and had to move 2 hours away. And they obviously wanted to continue to live together and didn't want to commute back and forth to the store. And when I met them, they had about a year left in their lease. So they told me that if they couldn't find a buyer, that they were probably just not going to renew their lease and, close the store, unfortunately, because it didn't make money. And the difficulty that I had, let's talk about buyers. When you talk about small businesses, the people who buy small businesses are buying 2 things. They're making an investment with their money, so they're putting in money and they're looking for a return on their investment. But in all likelihood, they are going to become the general manager, owner, operator of the small business. So they're also buying themselves a job. And just like any person who's looking for a career, you want to get a job that you enjoy. You want to enjoy the hours that you're going to spend in the business, the customers you're going to deal with, the employees, etc. The problem that I ran into with the birdwatching store is that I needed to find someone who wanted several things. Number 1, they wanted to buy a business to have an income. Number 2, they had some money to invest. They were able to buy a business. Even with the vendor financing part of the deal, they had to have some money of their own. And number 3, they needed to have an interest in bird watching, or else they weren't going to connect with the clientele. The people that owned the store would spend hours and hours and hours there talking with their customers about birds. And if you weren't interested in that, it would probably be very apparent to the clientele, and that wouldn't do well for the business. The problem is that the demographic, and I didn't know this when I met them. I was in my mid-30s, and I wasn't a bird watcher. And I said, bird watching, who's into that? And they showed me that the birdwatching industry actually is growing at a very steady pace. And the reason that birdwatching is growing so quickly is because it is a sport or a hobby enjoyed by people in their retirement years. And as we know, that big baby boomer bulge of people is heading into retirement. So the demographic that is most likely to be a birdwatcher was growing very quickly. And so it was a business that actually had a lot of great demographic qualities to it, etc. The problem is that the majority of people interested in bird watching were retirement age. And people who are retiring very often don't want to buy a business. They want to retire. They don't want to work every day. They want to be retired. And if they do want to have a job or do work, they want a very disengaged type of employment. So something where you go to work, you're busy while you're there, and when you leave all your thoughts about it behind. The Walmart greeter is a great example. Guy shows up, says, hello, welcome, gives you directions to the shoe department. After he's done his shift, he doesn't worry about the people coming through the door at Walmart. He's done. And so there were all kinds of people from amongst this guy's clientele who wanted to work in the store. They thought it would be great. He got people all the time saying, hey, if you want someone to work 10 or 12 or 20 hours a week, I'd love to. I'm retired, but I want to keep busy and I love bird watching. I'd like to work in the store. But I was never able to find anyone to buy it. And my year quickly slipped by. And a year to sell a business is not that long a time. I actually had some pretty good sized businesses that took me 3 years to sell. And eventually the store was closed. They had a big liquidation sale, and the remaining inventory was sold to another shop that kind of caters to outdoor garden decor kind of stuff. So the bird feeders and everything kind of went into that milieu, okay? And to this day, there's no bird watching store like it open. I guess the moral of the story is that when these guys opened this business, you have to kind of think of, how am I going to get out of business? How am I going to get out of this if I ever have to? And with such a narrowly targeted niche, selling the business was always going to be something that would be difficult. And in the end, they ended up doing probably what 9 times out of 10 they would have had to do anyway, even if they ran the thing for 20 years. It's probably just have to sell everything off and close it down. So if you were going to operate such a business that had a very narrow niche, it would be important at all times to make sure that you were running the business for maximum profit and that you were taking that profit out of the business. Not doing what many small business owners and entrepreneurs do, is they leave profit in the business. They pay down debts, they build up their equity, it creates a stronger balance sheet. But ultimately, when it comes time to leave that business, it would be far wiser to have been able to build up other assets in your life to diversify your own financial portfolio than to have everything tied up in that one business, which could be very difficult to sell. Anyway, those are just some thoughts. If you've got thoughts of your own, please leave comments. And if you want to learn more about making private investment deals, my book, Invest Local, is for you. Learn more about it at investlocalbook.com, and go to the blog site to sign up for my newsletter. I send it out every month or so, covering the highlights of my blog and any information on upcoming webinars or live seminars that I'm doing. Until next time, have a great day, and we'll see you later.